Hey guys, this is Chris Frosin, and I'm doing another raw edit of the week for the FroKnowsPhoto.com website. It's raw edit number 61, and I promised someone that I would do a very exaggerated English accent for this video, so maybe I shall pull out an English accent as well, but I most likely won't. But I have got a couple of new t-shirts on, so I've got my Abercrombie and Fitch. It's a muscle tee, so it's a little bit short. Sorry, it's a muscle tee. So anyway, completely distracted. FroKnowsPhoto. So we've got the Lightroom. We're going to pop into Lightroom. I'm probably going to pop into Photoshop as well, but we're going to do a very quick Lightroom edit as well. Just to start, let's just reset all these and see where we are. So what we're going to do, this is our edit we've got here. Let's have a quick look at all the settings. 1755 2.8 quality lens. I do need to try and get my hands on one of these. Shot at what's 1/640th of a second at 3.2. And as Jared was saying, there's a lot of not particularly blown out backgrounds around here, but gorgeous model, white wedding dress, I'd imagine, and then the funky little lining on her shawl as well. Really good. Lovely to be able to see if we could pull out some of these details here. I don't know whether clarity would probably bring up a little bit in here, so maybe we could do an adjustment brush to bring out the clarity in her dress. We can have a look at that in a second. So what we're going to do, I'm going to do a couple of edits, and we're going to see if we can start using some of my presets, which I'm starting to create as well, trying to get a little bit of a style on my processing and editing. So I would like to do, might try and do 3 edits. I'm going to do one as close to realistic or along that kind of lines as I could. One high key one, so one really high key contrast, lots of highlights. And then possibly a black and white, although black and white one is one that I'm least interested in doing, just because of the state of the image like this. I think it lends itself to a bit of colour with the skin. So straight away, let's use one of my presets that I've got in here. It's a little bit of a split tone, and it's a blue-yellow split tone. So what we're going to do straight away is pull out the yellow on the highlights, because it's turning the dress and the snow a bit too yellow, so I'm going to pull back the saturation on that. It's looking a lot better. It's looking a little bit cold, and that looks really cold as well. Skin's looking quite on the chilly side. Let's pop a little bit of magenta in just to keep her pinkish, and a little bit of warmth as well. There we go. It's a bit better. I'll just check the exposure. Pretty good on that. We're not going to touch the recovery, we're not going to do the fill light. Might add a little bit of blacks and a little bit of contrast just to pull it up again. And then what we said we're going to do is just see if we can get some adjustment brush on this. So we're going to set all these back to 0, double click to go back to 0, we're going to push the clarity right up, we're going to move the contrast slightly. We're going to keep the flow reasonably high, that's about the right size, so we'll zoom in. That's Command and plus to zoom in, and we're just going to paint over here and see how it's increase that flow actually. Hit the O key to see the overlay, size of the brush with the square brackets. I'm just going to paint in around here to see if we can pull out some of this detail on the dress really quickly. Don't want to be taking too long on this. Right around here. Density is quite low as well, actually. Let's push it all up. It's better. So colour it in. So where Wacom pens come in really handy because we can fade out at the edges. There we go. Not getting any latency on this, which is good. And turn the overlay off. It's not too bad. Just pull that clarity back. See the difference? Yep. Maybe just pull the exposure back very slightly, increase the saturation as well. There we go. So zoom out on that. It's a little bit better. Let's have a look at before and looking at the after there. Right. Close down that. Let's just sort out this slant, although I'm tempted to go the opposite way actually, but we will just straighten her up a little bit. That is about right. There we go. Just expand this on the edges. Make full use of the picture. Probably could do with going just a little bit further actually. There we go. Right. See if we can pull back on this blue on her skin. Just pull the saturation back a little bit on the blue. And pump the pink, pump the purple and magenta a little bit. Okay. Sharpening, noise reduction, pump that up a little bit. We've got the profile in there. And we're going to take out the highlight vignette. We might put in a little bit of a positive rather than a negative highlight vignette. And that is looking pretty good actually. I think we might leave it at that. See if we can just have a look at. Just pull these back in a little bit further. Bring out some detail. Can we bring out some more detail in that dress with some shadows? Not really. Let's go back up and just push that exposure up a little bit again. Check this exposure, take it up. That's better. Right, there we go. Okay. So let's have that as my snapshot 1. So I'm going to add a snapshot there and call that number 1. Now we're going to do this high key one. So high key, let's see, rather than doing an exposure, I just want to see if we can really blow out all this and get it get it completely pulled into fading to white. So I'm going to do that using our tone curve. Right. See if we can get some light pushed right up. There we go. Pull those darks back again. Pull the shadows back to 0. That's it. See how far we can push the highlights without it. Just want to keep an eye on her skin here. Make sure it's still retaining a little bit of detail. And now we're doing that as well. Reset all these. Just going to leave that blue down. What I'm going to do is see if we can pump that purple of her saturation of her lips and make those lips really pop. There we go. We don't want to lose her ear too much. Pull back on the reds for the ear and put that purple back up. Magenta. There we go. Okay, zoom back out. That's a bit better. Liking that. And put some fill light in just to blow out some more of it. Wow, there we go. Blow out some more of these details. I'm going to pull the clarity back to fade as if you push it up, we get all this detail come back in, but if we pull it back, then we should get rid of some of this detail in here. And then what we can do, because these I think are green, what we can do, go down to the HSL, go to luminance and select a green. We're just going to push the greens up so we can really see if we can get those out of the picture a little bit more. There we go. So lost all the detail down here, really blown that out, so it's really just picking out her form. You can just see her form from where it's contrasting against her skin. It'd be a shame. See if we can just lose that harsh, excuse me, a few hiccups. We can just lose that harsh line on the tree. I use an adjustment brush. Excuse me. So we're just going to bump the exposure and the brightness on the adjustment brush. Zoom into the tree. I'm just going to see if we can fade this tree out. That's too much. Just drop the flow down a little bit. See if we can just fade it a little bit less. That's better. right up there. A little bit of latency on this now as well. I'm noticing that more and more that Lightroom isn't coping too well. Right, let's just check that that's blowing out in the right places. Yep. There we go. That should do that. Pull that back. Oh, sorry. Keep that up there. Make sure that's blown out again. And we'll close that down. Zoom out. And we've got one bit there as well that we just need to get back in as well. So let's go into here. Same adjustment brush. We just need to blow that bit out there as well. There we go. Check that that's not. Check that it's not got some details in there which are going to show up. Zoom back out, close that down. That's better. That's what we're wanting. I say we've still got that. Keep finding one little bit. So zoom in and just really blow that out as well. There we go. Now that should leave all that down there nice and white, pulling you in. And what we're going to do as well is just crop in and see if we can get this end of the shawl just into the corner of the picture as well. There we go. And then one more thing, let's see if we can get a little bit of a highlight vignette just to pull these corners out, really separate her from the centre. Close down that. Let's push this up a little bit further. There we go. Where's that midpoint? Let's get that midpoint in the feather. I want the feather to be quite large. That's it. And pull the midpoint in just a fraction. Don't really want to mess with this shawl down here, so I'm just keeping an eye on that, making sure I'm keeping away from it. Actually, let's just leave that back to 0 in a little bit, and we'll do it with an adjustment brush again. So we'll do a new one actually, so we can pull the flow and the density back a little bit. Put the size, feather still aiming quite high. Lots in the corners, so heavy density in the corners, and then fading out to a little bit of a vignette around here. Still got some latency on these. There we go. See where we got to. Put the overlay on. See your density. Ba -ba. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. Is that it? Add a little bit more in here then. It's coming down that side. I just want to get this black bit here, I just want to fade that out as well. There we go. That's better. Let's take the overlay off. There we go. Da-da-da. So, main idea on this is I don't want to be able to see the edges of the picture. So I want to see it fading out to white so that when it's posted on a page or in a picture book, it looks like it's just in the middle of the page and she's right out there. So I really want to keep these, I don't want to see any straight lines on the edges. There we go. Make sure it's not lagging behind, catching up. Bum. Haha, Victor. For those of you who do read my blog, sneak peek. Some of you should know what these are. I know one person definitely does, but that is a challenge that is coming up on my blog later on. So let's just keep picking at these. We might just fade that tree out just a little bit further as well. There we go, and that is going to be my snapshot number 2. There we go. So we're going to. I'm going to export those two. I'm going to pop them up on the FroKnowsPhoto website. And we've got a high key and a nice edited colour. I might just pop, looking at this on again, pop a little bit of fill light into this just to bring out the detail in there. Just to push it up a little bit further. There we go. Okay, so there are my 2 edits. We've got realistic, supposedly, and then the high key. Thank you very much, guys. This is Chris Frosin doing a raw edit of the week for the FroKnowsPhoto.com website. I'm not going to do my American accent. I shall save that for another video. So thank you very much, guys, and I shall see you later on. Take care. Bye bye.